All right, so today we are going behind the scenes,
Ooh,
like backstage behind the scenes.
I like it.
We've got a listener who is considering a career as a scenery technician and wants to know what it's really like.
Okay.
Not just, the
Yeah.
velvet curtains and the spotlight.
Yeah, behind the curtain.
Exactly.
All right, cool.
So you sent over a bunch of stuff from RoleCatcher.
I did career guides, interview tips, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, even just getting ready for this, I was like, oh, wow, there's way more to this job than I even...
Than you would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I pictured mostly, backdrops and maybe like some carpentry.
Right. Some like cool like set design stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But it's so much more technical than that.
Yeah, RoleCatcher was painting a much more technical picture.
100%. They're talking about rigging, lighting, even pyrotechnics in some cases.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, hold on. So it's really about understanding complex machinery, working with pre-assembled sets, managing all of that equipment, and then also making sure that it's safe. Yeah, because you're not just moving stuff around.
No, you're responsible for the safety and functionality of these complex systems.
And the safety of the people on the stage.
Exactly, and the people working on them.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of responsibility, and that's just one example.
And I was going to say, speaking of safety, I was very surprised to learn that there are certifications involved in this.
Oh, yeah.
Like rigging certifications.
Absolutely.
That sounds serious.
Yeah, so you think about like a complex flying scene in a Broadway show where actors are suspended above the stage.
Right.
A scenery technician with that rigging expertise is who ensures the safety of the performers and the set.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so these certifications are no joke.
So it's like a big responsibility.
Huge. And then there are also certifications for things like pyrotechnics, if you're working on a production that uses special effects, and even for specific software that's used in lighting and automation.
Wait, so you're telling me they use pyrotechnics in the theater?
They do.
What kind of shows are we talking about here?
Well, think about shows like Phantom of the Opera,
Oh.
with that dramatic chandelier drop,
Right.
or even concerts that use pyrotechnics as part of their performance.
That makes sense.
Yeah, those are all designed and managed by skilled technicians, including scenery technicians who specialize in that area.
So you really do need to have, like, the mind of an engineer
Yeah.
and the soul of an artist
Yes, exactly, 100%.
to do this job.
It's this really cool blend of like technical know-how and creative artistry that you don't really think about when you think scenery, but it's really cool.
Yeah, you're totally right.
And that's actually reflected in the career progression that they outline on RoleCatcher.
Okay.
So you might start as an assistant,
Okay.
doing things like setting up those pre-assembled sets, checking that everything's in order, and then working closely with the road crew.
Road crew. Okay.
Yeah,
That's where I feel like the long hours part of the job description comes in.
it does. It definitely does.
Because I picture road crew and I think lots of travel.
Lots of travel and lots of late nights.
Yeah.
Because they're the folks who handle the logistics of moving these sets and equipment, often on incredibly tight deadlines.
Right.
Especially when you're touring with a show.
Yeah.
And we're talking evenings, weekends. The show must go on right.
Right.
But as you gain experience, you start to take on more responsibility, maybe leading a team.
So what would that look like for, say, an intermediate level scenery technician?
Good question.
What are they doing?
So at that level, you would be setting up and prepping sets more independently.
Okay.
You'd be conducting those thorough safety checks and maintenance, and probably with more specialized knowledge under your belt.
So like more of those certifications.
Exactly. And the example profile that RoleCatcher provided mentioned certifications like the ETCP Entertainment Electrician Certification
Wow.
and the OSHA 30-hour Construction Certification.
So not only do you have to know how to do it, but you have to know how to do it safely.
Yes, and according to industry standards, which is important.
That's really interesting.
And here's a detail from RoleCatcher that I thought was really cool.
Oh, what's that?
At this level, you might even start collaborating more directly with designers.
Oh, wow.
So you're not just following instructions.
You're part of the process.
You're part of the creative process.
That's awesome.
Yeah, imagine bringing those artistic visions to life.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool aspect of the job.
Okay, but let's be real for a second.
Yeah,
That also sounds really demanding.
it is. It is. And it's not a career where you just like learn a few things and then coast.
Right.
The entertainment industry is constantly evolving.
Right. New technologies.
New technologies are popping up all the time, and RoleCatcher actually highlighted this story
Oh, really?
about a scenery technician who had to learn how to program a new automation system
Oh, no.
on the fly because the old one failed right before opening night,
Oh, my gosh.
and they pulled it off.
Wow, talk about pressure.
Right.
Oh, I would panic.
Oh, absolutely. And it just goes to show you, like, you really have to be on your game in this kind of work.
Yeah. And be adaptable, clearly.
Very much so.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a great story. That really speaks to that adaptability.
It really does.
So, okay, so we talked about kind of like the beginning and then that intermediate level. But now I want to know,
Yeah.
what does it take to reach the top,
To climb that ladder.
to climb that ladder, to be the top of the scenery technician world?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, and let's not forget those all-important leadership and communication skills.
Right, because you're managing people at that point.
Exactly.
That's just equipment.
It's not just about the technical stuff. You got to be able to wangle the humans, too.
That's right. It's all about teamwork, especially
Yeah.
with those tight deadlines and those high-pressure situations.
Exactly. And speaking of high pressure, let's talk about the interview process.
Okay.
RoleCatcher had some interesting insights on what potential scenery technicians should expect.
Like what?
Like the types of questions that you might get asked.
Okay, were they surprising?
They were a little different than I expected.
Really?
Yeah, we're not talking about your typical, like, what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Right.
These are scenario-based questions designed to really test your knowledge, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Oh, I like it.
Right.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, one question that RoleCatcher highlighted was, imagine you're working on a show, and during the performance, a critical piece of equipment malfunctions.
Oh, no.
What do you do?
Oh, my goodness. That's a tough one.
Right.
Because the show must go on.
Exactly.
How do you answer that?
Well, it's all about demonstrating your understanding of the technical systems,
Okay.
your ability to troubleshoot under pressure, and your awareness of safety protocols.
Of course, because you don't want to put anybody in danger.
Exactly. So a good answer would involve, like, identifying the problem,
Okay.
taking immediate steps to mitigate any risks, and then outlining a plan for repair or replacement.
So you have to think on your feet.
Exactly. And all while keeping the show running as smoothly as possible.
Wow.
No easy feat.
So really what they're testing there is not just, do you have the technical skills, but do you have the composure?
The grace under pressure.
Right, to handle that. Because I feel like some people
Sure.
would just panic.
Oh, absolutely. I would crumble.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, everybody, show's over. But you can't do that.
No, you got to keep it rolling.
The show must go on.
Exactly. And remember that story about the scenery technician who had to learn a new automation system on opening night?
Yeah.
That would be a pretty compelling answer to that interview question.
Totally, because it shows that you can handle it.
Exactly.
You've been there. You've done that.
Right.
Oh, not you personally, babe.
Not me personally, I would hope to.
But you know you've seen it done.
Right, exactly.
And RoleCatcher actually offers like AI-powered interview prep, right?
They do.
Which seems like it'll be really helpful for this kind of thing.
It's amazing they've analyzed tons of job specs and interview questions to create this AI system that can help you tailor your resume and practice your answers. They even have like AI-powered video feedback to help you refine your delivery.
What?
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal interview coach.
So it's one thing to know how to do all this stuff.
Right.
Like to be that scenery technician.
To have all those skills, but then there's this whole other job hunting piece
Totally.
that you need to be prepared for.
And AI is becoming a bigger part of that.
Yeah, it's like AI is changing the game
It is. It's really changing the game.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because recruiters are increasingly relying on AI to like filter through those mountains of resumes.
Right.
So tools like RoleCatcher are really empowering job seekers to understand those algorithms and tailor their applications so they stand out.
So it's not just about what you know.
It's about how you present yourself
Yeah.
to the AI overlords.
It's like you got to appeal to the robots now.
Exactly. This is the new reality of job hunting.
Okay, so we've talked about like the technical skills, the career progression, the interview process, AI.
We went there.
We did go there.
We did.
But let's circle back to something that I think kind of gets lost in the weeds a little bit,
Okay.
which is the creative side of this job.
Absolutely.
Because we keep talking about like the technical skills and like, can you handle the pressure? But you're part of a creative field.
Yes, you are working with designers. You're bringing their visions to life.
Yeah.
You're creating this immersive experience for the audience.
That must be so cool.
Yeah.
Like to see your work on stage
Like to see that come to life.
and be like, I did that.
Yeah, like I built that set.
Or I rigged those lights.
Yes, I rigged those lights. I'm responsible for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it must be so exhilarating.
Right.
There's a certain magic to live performance.
Yeah.
And a scenery technician is a crucial part of creating that magic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really special.
Okay, last question before we move on,
Okay.
because we've talked about how demanding it is. We've talked about the rewards, big picture.
Yeah.
What would you say are the biggest pros and cons
Okay.
that someone who is considering this should really think about?
Well, I mean, on the plus side, like we've been saying, there's never a dull moment. Every day is different. Every production brings new challenges, and you're constantly learning and growing both technically and creatively.
It does seem like one of those fields where you'd never stop learning.
Totally.
There's always something new.
And you're surrounded by these like really creative, passionate people.
That's awesome.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Okay. But like you said, it's not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not.
What about the downsides?
The lifestyle is probably the biggest one.
Okay.
Long and irregular hours, tight deadlines, and that pressure to deliver, especially when those technical glitches pop up,
Yeah.
it can really take a toll.
Well, for sure.
RoleCatcher actually mentioned this one story about a scenery technician who had to climb 30 feet above the stage
Oh, my God.
to fix a lighting rig during a performance.
Oh, no.
Talk about pressure.
See, that's where I'd be like, nope, I'm out.
Right.
On the ground.
Yeah, fear of heights is definitely a deal breaker for this one.
Yes, I think so.
But even if you're not afraid of heights, you need a certain level of resilience and stamina.
Yeah.
It's physically demanding.
Oh, yeah.
You're on your feet a lot, you're lifting heavy equipment. Sometimes you're working in these cramped or like uncomfortable spaces.
Yeah, it's not a 9-to-5 office job.
No, not at all. But I think that's part of the appeal for a lot of people in this field.
Yeah.
They love the energy, the challenge,
Right.
you know, the feeling of being part of something bigger than themselves.
Right, it's like putting on a show.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So for our listener who is considering this,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
I would say, first and foremost, be honest with yourself
Okay.
about what you're passionate about and what your limits are.
That's good advice for anything.
That's good life advice.
Yeah.
Like, do you thrive in these fast-paced, physically demanding environments?
Right.
Are you fascinated by this world of theater and music and live events?
Because if the answer is no,
Yeah. If the answer is no,
this might not be the right fit.
this is probably not going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah. You got to be honest with yourself
Exactly.
about those things.
But if you're like nodding your head along to all of this, if you're thinking, yeah, that sounds kind of fun,
Right.
then dive in head first.
Yeah. Just go for it.
Yeah, get involved with your local theater productions, volunteer at community centers, even just reach out to professionals in the field and ask about their experiences.
Yeah. Get your hands dirty.
Exactly.
Soak up all that information.
Network, build your network.
There you go.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of the technical stuff either.
Yeah, embrace the technical aspects of the job because the more skills you have, the more competitive you'll be.
Right. And that's where those certifications come in.
Exactly.
Those will make you stand out.
Totally.
And that's where platforms like RoleCatcher
So helpful.
can be so helpful.
Yeah, it's like having a roadmap for your career journey.
This has been amazing.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was so much to being a scenery technician.
It's a hidden world.
It really is.
Full of creativity, technical wizardry,
And a lot of hard work.
and a lot of hard work. It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Yeah,
But it sounds incredibly rewarding
it does.
if you're up for the challenge.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about.
Yep.
What if the perfect career isn't about finding a job, but about finding a stage?
Ooh, I like
The
it.
place where your skills and passions can truly shine through.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, that stage is waiting for you just behind the curtain.
Love it.